Okay, traders, welcome in. Let's talk about the most common mistakes that come with developing trading systems. So that's the discussion. Now, this isn't a quick fix, this is big picture ideas, and there's a lot to say, there's a lot to get into, and I promise it's going to help you. So if it helps you, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment. Now, it's free. I'm not charging a course for a course. Maybe one day I will, but the goal is that I won't have to. So let's get into it. So trading, come up here, Doug. Trading is something interesting where, on one hand, you need to be creative to a degree. Come up, Doug. I mean, honestly, I think obedience is more important than creativity, right? Because in trading, it's all about following rules. Can you follow your rules? And that's what a trading system is. Can you follow rules? Now, that set of rules, where is it coming from? It could be given to you. You pay for somebody's system and you follow those rules. So you don't necessarily need to be creative. I am going to talk about the creative process of, I'm the type of guy, I need to build my own system. And I think it's important to build your own system because that gives you an understanding of why the rules are in place, which makes it easier to follow those rules. And also, we're going to see that a lot of systems aren't necessarily suited exactly for you. So even if you take somebody else's system, you're going to want to tweak it for yourself. But if we look at what a successful trading business is, for the most part, it's having a clear system and following those rules. And that system, well, there's different buckets of that system, and they need to be integrated in a way that works in your brain. So that's what we're going to get into. But the first problem for most people is they don't know what their system is. Everybody has a system, whether you know it or not. So the first most common problem is not knowing what your system is. Your system might be, and I can relate to this, is I go on my phone first thing in the morning, which is whatever your local time is, and then you immediately place a trade in one direction or the other. And when you experience fear, you cut out of the position. And when you experience greed, you either add onto it or take a screenshot and share it. And then you wait to get stopped out. Like, that is a system, right? It doesn't sound good, it doesn't feel good. And then your system is to risk too much or to whatever. So the first thing is figuring out what your system actually is. Like, what are you actually doing, right? Because what you're doing, that is a system. Everybody even has a trading system, even if you don't know what it is. So you got to clear on what it is you're doing, and that can tell you a lot when you look at it and like, okay, my system is essentially gambling, right? So that's the first problem. Now, we're gonna look at we got to look at what a trading system is before we can say, okay, this is where the problems occur. So a trading system is a set of rules, but there's three main areas that need to be integrated in a way that makes sense. So this is the trading execution rules, trading execution, risk, and scheduling. So briefly to go over these. So a trading system has rules around the trading execution. Here, these are the assets that I trade. Here's what it takes to enter a trade. This is where my stop loss goes. This is when I take profit. And it can be simple, it can be complicated. There's all kinds of different trading rules, rules for trading execution. It's only 1/3, and I think this is where people go wrong, is they think this is everything. It's not everything. There's only a part of it. So, I mean, the trading execution rules, you could be a trend follower, you could be a swing trader, you could be a scalper, you could be an intraday trader. There's lots of things that could theoretically work. I mean, I'll tell you I'm biased towards the higher time frames, and we're going to get into that, of why I am. But it's important to have clear rules, and you can have expert rules and exceptions where in this case I do this thing, in this case I do that thing. you don't necessarily need to be a total robot to be successful, but having a general system, general principles, general rules that do this in this situation, and if I do that over a sample of 20, 50, 100, I'm going to make a lot of money. That's an important part of, let me get more in the sun here. That's an important part of trading execution. I'll just be dark. I kind of like how that contrast looks. That's one part, but then there's also risk. So risk is really important too. Risk is not as simple as I'm risking 1 to 2% per trade or 0.5% to 2% per trade. Are you pyramiding your positions? Well, let's back up off that. Like, how are you funding your account? How are you budgeting? Is it coming from do you have savings? Is it coming from your income? Are you a prop trader? How many prop accounts are you running? What does it take to buy a new prop account? What happens when a payout comes up but you're in a profitable trade? There's a lot of different questions around risk that it's not as simple as risking 1 to 2%. And it comes back to also the trading style, because if you take 10 trades a day, you probably don't want to risk 2%. If you take 1 trade a week, risking 2% might be okay, right? So these two things need to be integrated. Now, the area where I think most people go wrong, and this is definitely where I've gone wrong, is scheduling. You have to have scheduling rules that work with your risk and your trading execution. What do I mean by this? Well, if you have an algorithm, a robot can trade 24/7. It can trade every market, it can trade every open, it can trade every close. But in your life, you have a schedule that you have to abide by. You need to sleep at these times, you need to eat at these times, you might need to work another job, you might need to take your kids to school, you might not even want to trade all the time. So you have to have a schedule. And I think where a lot of people go wrong is they have a system like for trading execution that isn't really thinking so much about their scheduling. Now, the scheduling, super important. And part of where people go wrong in scheduling is they overestimate their ability to perform at certain times. I mean, the truth is that trading is very competitive, and if you're sloppy, if you're tired, you're probably not going to do a good job. You're probably not going to execute your system that well, so you're probably going to lose money. You want a system where scheduling and trading execution work well together and are easy. So, I mean, an example was if you live where I live and I have a system to trade the New York Open. The New York Open is about at 3 a.m. and I'm getting up at 2 a.m. That's not sustainable. I'm not going to perform well. I'm going to hate it. I'm going to quit. I'm going to give up. And I'm probably not going to make a lot of money either. So you have to find a system that works for your schedule of when you can trade. Now, I mean, related is not just that, but thinking like having a system where you're on call all the time. There's a couple problems with the low time frame trading of, well, what happens when your allotted time ends, but you're still in the market? You just close it, or does it just start to drag on? The trade starts to drag on. So there's a lot of problems are faced with the scheduling. And I mean, I'll tell you personally, a lot of my problems have been from overscheduling, having too many sessions, too much time, and thinking that I could perform well. So what I've come to and what I'm seeing is so many of the successful traders trade off the daily close, and they trade off the daily close / the daily open because it narrows your window of effectiveness, right? Where if you can do all your chart trading and chart analysis after the close for 1 hour, 30 minutes to an hour to do your executions, and you can do it either before the market opens or after the market closes. And that has been a really key for me, and what I've done well is having scheduling, okay, for me a daily close, but then also focus on the markets that close at the time when I'm sharpest, So like shifting towards, for me, for instance, indices, Forex, and metals close in my morning time between 9 and 12 p.m. Right now they close typically between 11 and 12 p.m. Sorry, 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. Which it's good for me. One, because I can schedule that. I don't have to work something else during that time, and I'm sharp during that time. And trading the crypto closes a little bit harder. It's at 2 p.m. Usually I'm working my other job around that time, and it's after lunch. I'm sleepy. I'm not performing that well. But enough about me. The point is, one of the problems people have with developing systems or even adopting a trading system is that these things don't go well together, right? Scheduling and risk. Like, it could be also, if your risk is too big, then you're not able to sleep. So that kind of screws with your scheduling. But yeah, these things, you need a harmony here. So you can have an excellent system, but it's too hard for you to execute. You could have a risk platform that you're not able to follow. You could have scheduling that's unrealistic, right? So these are some of the common problems. Or you don't even know what your system is. And when you write your system down, you're going to realize that you're just gambling, right? So, yeah, those are some of the common problems. But in my mind, like, this is what trading is you adopt a system and mold it to your needs, / you create your own system. I mean, it's definitely adopting because everything's been done for the most part. You take different concepts that you like, I created a system, but it's from concepts that other people taught me of. Okay, this is what a swing failure reversal looks like. This is what a breakout looks like. This is a trailing stop loss strategy. This is a daily close strategy. I mean, I'm just taking things I learned from other people. But being organized, I have a binder. In my binder, I look at this. These are the rules, and again, it's not just trading execution rules. It's risk rules. It's scheduling rules. And I have that in my computer too, and I'm checking if I follow them. So, and then once you have the rules, following those rules can be very hard. But again, if you don't follow the rules, oftentimes it's like, why would you not follow the rules? Well, you don't really believe in the rules. Usually there's some kind of subconscious underlying belief. It could also be just some kind of sort of compulsion or something. But usually you don't believe the rules, right? Why do you jaywalk? Because you think it's a dumb rule, right? Why do you, what's some other, if maybe you drive 5 to 10 miles over the speed limit at times, because you're not worried about the rule, you're not worried anything's going to go wrong. But you don't steal, because that's a good rule, right? Well, if you're not able to follow your rules, there's probably some sort of belief there. So, I mean, when I have been not able to follow my rules, all of the time, it's because, like, I think the rules are dumb, and then all of a sudden I don't know what I'm trading. I don't even know my rules, right? So, there's some ideas for you. Again, this is sort of a big picture. This is not a quick fix for you, but if you don't know what your rules are, the first thing to do is to write down what are you actually doing. And these are the 3. You need a set of rules for all 3 of these things: trading, execution, risk. Scheduling. With scheduling, I would lump in personal conduct. Like, I'm not coming to my session drunk or on drugs, right? And so on. But yeah, you need a system for all 3 of those things, and they need to make sense together. And no one can give you that. People can give you systems, but most of the time they're just giving you this, and you need to integrate them yourself and tweak it and modify it for who you are. So hope you find that useful, and good luck in your trading. So, and let me know again, comment down below if you found this useful. Peace.